So most people do not become successful overnight. So if you launch a business, you can't say, well, in the first year you'll make, you know, a million pounds, although some might, but majority won't. So you have to be in it for the long haul, being prepared to put in the hard work. And as I said before, being prepared to develop and grow and learn from others. So learning and networking with other entrepreneurs, finding out what makes them tick, what can I learn from them, what can we share.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is the Breakout Room, where we get to interview entrepreneurs and find out more about their business, what inspired them to start, what they do, the challenges they faced, and some of the key skills that have helped them to get to where they are. So my guest today is Sanchia, and she is somebody I've known in the community. She does a lot of things. She's been a mayor, she's been a councillor, she works at South Bank with me now, and she's just started her brand new business. So Sanchia, would you please introduce yourself to our guests?
Thank you, and thank you for having me on the show. I'm really delighted to be here. So my name is Sanchia Alasia, and I run my own business called Sanchia Consulting Limited, and we do HR and diversity consulting to the public, private and third sector.
Oh wow. And I didn't know you'd actually started your business, because we were having a conversation the other day and she said she started, and I thought, wow, I need to get you here because this woman has done so many amazing things. I'm not even going to ask you the number of awards you have. You must have hundreds.
Yeah, I've been blessed to have been nominated and shortlisted and won for a number of awards, and it's really encouraging for me because it means that I'm on the right track and making an impact in people's lives, which is what I've set out to do.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why this channel is here, is to inspire you. We need representation, and we need people who look like us who are doing great in the community. So when, because I was surprised to find out that you started yet another business. So tell me about the business. And she's also written a book as well, but we won't talk about that yet. So tell me about the business. What inspired you? What's your background anyway? Can you tell our viewers what your background is first?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've worked in the field of HR and diversity for over 15 years now, across the public sector. And so in the pandemic, actually, in April 2021, I decided to launch my business and put the skills that I've learned over the last 15 years to good use. So what inspired me was that I was approached to be the program director for a leadership course for Black and Asian staff in universities with an organisation called Advanced HE, and that propelled me to start the business and take things seriously and pitch myself to the wider world.
Okay, great. So that was that inspired you to start the business. So have you been able to get clients since then?
So most of my clients come from referrals, so people who know me, know what I'm about and know my work. So that initial one came through an entrepreneur that I knew actually, and he knew my skills and recommended me for that. And aside from that, yeah, it comes from recommendations. And so that's why it's really important that I deliver to a high standard, because then I'm able to gain more clients.
And I don't know if you've noticed, there's a theme here, and it's networking. You know, your network is your net worth. It's important. This is a very good example. You're here because I know you through my network. So that's interesting to hear. So can you give us an idea of some of the challenges you actually faced in setting up the business? So was it easy to register? I know you have referrals. Do you do any marketing? Do you have a website? Do you use social media? So if you can talk.
Yeah, I mean, I think registering a business on Companies House is really easy. I think the journey after that can be quite difficult. So I think for me, it's about, as you say, networking and getting that advice. So speaking to other entrepreneurs, finding out about their journey, being part of different business clubs to gain advice on how to structure the business, how to manage finance, how to gain new clients, and how to be your best self, really. So I think it's kind of networking, developing, learning and growing for myself. So even though I do training, I also need to be trained myself and go on development courses to make sure that I'm running the business in the best way that I should.
Yeah, exactly. So that's important. Investing in yourself is key. I was just telling you about the camera setup. So the camera setup I used in the first interview is a lot different from what I'm using now, and it's all about going online, finding out the best ways, improving yourself, going on courses if you need to. It's important. You have to invest in yourself so you can get better and deliver a better service. So going back to the challenges, did you need to find any capital, or is it because it was you got paid when you delivered, so you didn't need any capital?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I launched in April 2021. So when I launched, we were still in the pandemic.
Okay.
So all of my training sessions and delivery for the first year of my business were on Zoom.
Okay.
So in that sense, there wasn't really any capital apart from buying a Zoom license and delivering the sessions from home.
Okay.
Now, as we've come out of the pandemic, a lot more clients are asking for hybrid delivery, so a mixture of face-to-face and Zoom sessions. So I do have to get out there and invest in materials for the physical sessions.
Okay. So there might be some of our, thank you for that, Sanchia. There might be some of our viewers who are thinking, oh, so what does an HR agency do? Can you shed some light on what you do?
So in terms of what I do and what I do best in terms of HR, I can help companies to develop policies. So it could be a recruitment policy, it could be an equality and diversity policy, a grievance policy, a capability policy, and I can also do training for their staff on how to administer those in a fair way. I also do independent investigations. So if something has gone wrong between employees, with volunteers, and you want someone independent to come and take a look at the situation and give recommendations, I can also do that as well.
Okay, well, that's interesting. So that means that you're open for business, as it were.
Absolutely.
So anybody can call you and tell you. So in terms of, you said you also, I wouldn't use the word litigate, but you get involved. So can you give us an example of one of those that you've been involved in, and what was the outcome?
Yeah, so one of the first independent investigations that I did was actually for an organisation who had a number of volunteers as well as staff. One of their volunteers had made some racist comments on social media, and I was asked to investigate that and make some recommendations going forward. I've also been asked to investigate complaints from clients, from customers. So I've worked with universities, for example. Students make a complaint against their tutors, so I've been asked to investigate that. It could be employee against employee, where you need someone to investigate and find out what's happened and get to the bottom of things.
Okay, no, that's interesting then. So, and I like what you said about the results of the investigation is to give recommendations. Rather,
Absolutely.
It's not punitive in any way. It's just to educate and enlighten
Absolutely.
the employers and employees so they can do better. Great. And I was also going to ask you about money, because people might be thinking, is it a great way? Is it a business that pays well, comfortable? So if someone was there thinking of starting up an HR, is it an HR consultancy?
Yes, HR and diversity.
Okay, HR and diversity. How much would you say they'll be looking to make maybe in a year?
I guess it depends. For me, I work at London South Bank University, as you mentioned, 4 days a week. So it's not my full-time business.
Just a side.
But yeah, in the first year, I made a reasonable amount. And what I've tried to do year on year is grow the business year on year. So the first year, there's a lot of expenses because I had to pay for a website developer. Buy a webcam, a high quality webcam to deliver my Zoom session. So not just using the webcam on the laptop, which is actually not high definition enough. So there is a lot of investment in the first year and a lot of outlay. But then coming into my third year now, I can see that the business and the revenue has grown. And I've also become a bit more savvy about what I invest my time and money in as well. So I was putting my money into a lot of things, and I've kind of reviewed those year on year and saying, actually, is this actually beneficial for me? If not, I will cut ties and move on as well.
And that's important when you're in business, because time is money, and you have to really look at the things that matter, invest your time in the things that really matter and are going to grow your business. And you can't say yes to everything. There are a lot of things that you'll have to say no to, and that's just the way life is. You only have 24 hours a day, and you have to choose what you do with those hours. So another thing I was so is it so anyway, I guess it's a bit unfair, but if you were to extrapolate what you were getting in that day to over a year, Is that, are we talking 50, over 50, under 50?
So the first year,
You don't need to
I
tell us
made
your
under
profits.
50.
It's just the
But
income.
coming into the third year now, I can see projections of over 50.
Okay.
So it's taken like a couple of years to get to that stage, build the brand, you know, be recognised for what I do, and people having confidence in being able to book me for my services as well.
Yeah. And I know, I was going to say as well, you've written a book. Was your book about HR? Or your journey?
My book was more kind of like an autobiography, which actually I got someone to write for me. So Emmanuel Kwarteng actually was my kind of biographer. And so the book was launched in 2018 or 2019, April 2019, the book was launched.
Okay,
And
it's still available. So what I'll do is that if you're interested in reading the book, I'll put a link down below so you can find out a bit more about the book, and of course about Sanchia's journey, because you were a councillor, you were a mayor as well, because I remember you with that your chain. And there was another thing I actually wanted to ask about the business, and that was about marketing. I know you said you have referrals, so you have a website. Is there any other social media? So if people wanted to follow you, where would they find you?
So absolutely. So I have a website, and I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram. So it's important to be visible and to be engaged, and for me to be easily accessible, so people are able to find me quite easily. So hopefully through at least one of those channels, people should be able to reach out to me.
Thank you very much. The other thing I was going to ask you is about skills. No, we're not done yet. Skills. So being an entrepreneur and you having run your own business, what skills would you say have helped you to grow the business and still be here 3 years later, still be here 3 years later, and essentially going through a pandemic? Because going through a pandemic, a lot of businesses were shutting down. We know larger business, Debenhams, even Wilco is on its knees now.
Heard.
So can you tell us the key skills that have allowed you to navigate this difficult period?
I think there's a lot of patience required. So most people do not become successful overnight. So if you launch a business, you can't say, well, in the first year you'll make, you know, £1 million, although some might, but majority won't. So you have to be in it for the long haul, being prepared to put in the hard work. And as I said before, being prepared to develop and grow and learn from others. So learning and networking with other entrepreneurs, finding out what makes them tick, what can I learn from them, what can we share with each other, investing in myself, as I mentioned earlier. I do a lot of reading as well, so there's a lot of free business newsletters. You know, you've got the Federation for Small Businesses, you've got the London Chamber of Commerce, the Havering Chamber of Commerce, and they send out free newsletters, they have courses. And so I just avail myself, I keep myself up to date with the latest business trends, what's happening in London, what's happening globally, because my business is global. I've done work in Jamaica, I've done work across Europe, so it's important for me to be abreast of national and international issues, and not just be in my little corner and thinking everything is okay.
That's important, because we've got viewers from all over the world, I hope. So so as you can mention, I'm just going to recap on those skills. Networking is important. Reading, I've once read, if you can read and you don't read, you're no better than someone who can't read. So reading, and there is a saying about reading and black people, but I'm not going to mention that. And networking, it's important, you know, being patient as well, because there's no such thing as overnight success. If you see someone successful today, it's because they've put in the work. So is there anything else you would like to share with our viewers before we go?
I think if you're thinking about starting a business, because I had thought about it for a little while before I did it, I think just do it. Do your research, do your homework, take your time and do the necessary preparations. But even despite the economic challenges of the country, if we think about the United Kingdom, there's a lot of economic challenges at the moment. There's a cost of living crisis. There are still a lot of opportunities. So in every kind of challenge, there's always opportunities. And so I think it's incumbent on us as entrepreneurs to seek out those opportunities, find out where those gaps are, and make sure we are the ones to plug those gaps and make an impact in the lives of people across this country, both here and abroad. So go for it is what I would say.
Thank you very much, Sanchia. I was just going to say before we leave, it's important. I've actually read that most millionaires are actually created in a downturn, not in an upturn, downturn. And I was actually listening to a program. So there's somebody I watch on YouTube, Tayo, I know, and he was interviewing the founder of Enish. We all know Enish.
Oh yeah, I love that restaurant.
No, you need to. I'll send you the clip. That guy is amazing. He said when he goes anywhere, he never sees problems. He sees opportunities, and he's been seeing opportunities since he was a kid. He said he gave an example of when he was in Nigeria. Everybody had these cracky bikes, and he had a great bike. He was on his way somewhere, and he saw people queuing for this bike, and he had a chopper at home. He went home, got his chopper, and started hiring out his chopper. He said he made good money. He said every time he goes somewhere, he sees opportunities. He said he just doesn't. He doesn't see problems, and see how well it's done. The guy is only 43, you know, and he's got 9.
Same age as me.
Oh, okay. Oh, you babies, man. He said he's got 9 restaurants in the UK, and he's got
a restaurant in Dubai as well.
Yeah, 2. He's actually got 2, and he's opening on the. And he was talking about challenges as well, because I don't know if you know. I don't know if you should turn this off, because this is tea time. They're spilling tea, because Nigerians with a green passport aren't allowed into Dubai anymore, and those are his big spenders. So he said his business is taking.
That must have changed.
Yeah. They're not allowed in Dubai, because we were there.
That must
last
be
month.
recent.
Yeah. I think it's probably about a year now.
That's strange.
We were there last month, and you could see.
Strange.
Those people are those who sell.
You mean to work, not to obviously for tourist purposes.
Everything you're not allowed in. As a Nigerian with a Nigerian green passport, you're not allowed in from Nigeria anywhere. So if you were in the UK now, and you had a Nigerian passport with the right of abode, you can't go there.
Why would they do that?
Thank you very much, Sanchia.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, this was an amazing interview. We got to understand a bit more about what it takes to run a successful business, and I hope you found something useful. I'm sure you guys have learned quite a lot about how to start a business, how to grow it, and keep it successful.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
See you next time.